Hello again. I hope you haven't missed me too much. The truth is I've been very busy. I think the last time I did one of these YouTube videos was December, middle of December, but you know how busy December can be, so you can possibly forgive me for that part. But since then, I've been very busy writing, and I was doing 2 books at once this winter, and yeah, that really takes up a lot of time. I probably told you in my last YouTube video about my Cat Clues new series. You may have seen this cover, Justine and the Midnight Catechism. Well, that was, what, number 4? No, that's 3. So since then, there's been number 4, which is a whole lot different looking and has a very exciting Egyptian part in it. And I've just finished number 5, which is, whoa, really exciting. Now, there's an interesting thing about this. When you write 2 books, you have to split your mind into 2 parts. And I did that because the other thing I was writing, and this is a brand new series, is a hard-hitting family saga. So cat mystery on one side, family saga on the other side. This is the beginning of a series. It's called Simple Truths, and it will probably be, I don't know, I can see the second book, but I don't go too much further than 1 book at a time, and I'll look at the next one. It's been very interesting to write this because it's a 4-generation saga. I really like it. It's very truthful and hard-hitting, so if you're looking for something new, I would suggest this. But anyway, there I am, busy writing 2 books, and I finished the 2 of them, which is why I've got a bit of time to think about this. So, here's my question for the moment. Short or long? Do you like a short read, possibly a single story, or a series of shorter stories that may be connected? Or do you prefer the saga, the family saga that lets you get into detail about a whole family and really get to know the people? I would really like to know which of these you prefer, because it makes a big difference to me as a writer. I do want you to enjoy my stories. Now, speaking of that, you might be one of the people who recently downloaded a free copy of this book. This was my very first book. And it has a different cover from the original series, but the content is exactly the same. If you downloaded an ebook of Old Acquaintance, I hope by now you've learned to love Anna Mason as much as I do, and you've followed her story, because the Anna Mason story has 9 different titles, and this is how they look in the new version. I really like them. They're bright and colorful, but they still have a look of the original covers that I did so long ago when I first started to write, when I was about the age 70. At the end of this, I'm going to tell you how many books I've written. But that is definitely a beloved series, and it is a true family saga. Now, after that, my goodness, I never stopped. I went right on, and I wrote lots of other series. This one was the beginning of this 7 Days series. It takes place in the Lake District. There's 7 days there, and 7 days back to the Lake District, and 7 days beyond that. That series goes on for 6 books, and it started just with a woman who had recently lost her husband, and she was thinking back over her past life and how she could reconnect with her friends again. And she decided to do it in the Lake District. So she rented a beautiful apartment for a whole week and sent out letters hoping they would arrive at those people she had known before and that they would accept her invitation. Whether they do or not, and whether it makes changes or not in their lives, is up to you if you want to read the 7 days. So that's a friend saga. Some family involvement, definitely, but the original 4 people who meet in that apartment, oh, I've given it away now. That's the focus of the whole story. Now, to look at the other side of things, the shorter books, I decided I would try a series of shorter books. Now, this is 4 books called A Journey of a Lifetime, and they do not connect up to each other. They're completely separate stories, but what they do have in common is that each of them is about someone, young person usually, who starts out very disadvantaged in life one way or another and has to really fight to make her way in the world. In fact, there's a subtitle here, A Woman in a Man's World. And I'll give you a little taste of this one, Nadine's story, to see how you feel about it. Chapter 1. In the beginning, she had no ambition other than to survive. She was 18 with a baby on the way, no husband or prospect of one, no place to stay after the vicious condemnation of her parents led to her storming out of the house with a solemn declaration never to return. She couch surfed for a month or 2 until her school friends' parents decided she was a bad influence on their precious daughters. She continued to attend school during the days, was warmer than the streets, and she could generally scoop up enough leftover food from nearby plates in the cafeteria to keep her going. She also snagged an after-hours cleaning job in a restaurant kitchen. This supplemented her diet and allowed her a nap when the machines were humming with dirty dishes she had yet to put back on shelves. For a while she was coping all right, until she began to show. And that, of course, made everything change. And that's the story of Nadine, and this is Mariette. I love this one. It's the first crime story I ever wrote, and boy, did I enjoy that one. Other 2 books in that same series of shorter books, unrelated to each other. It's Orally, which is a big Irish component, and this one is about a girl who is actually autistic but hasn't been diagnosed as such and has a lot of things to overcome. But as you can see, swimming is the way she finds the way to find herself, and not at the bottom of a pool, but by helping children to learn how to swim, even though some of them were disabled. So lots of different ideas, lots of different stories. This is another long series, but this, of course, one of my favorite covers of all time. Gwen's Gentleman is the 3rd in the Seafarer series. So if you're missing out on a big sea cruise this year, the first book, called Sea Changes, will give you all you need to know about any cruise there ever was. This is the 3rd book, in which Gwen and her sister Emily become the major characters. I love this story beyond anything. It's absolutely my favorite book I've ever written. I hope to write more like this, because even if nobody else had read it, I would have loved it. Now recently, last year in fact, I started this series. Now this is a linked up series, not so much about a family as one individual woman in a family who is a bit like the girls in the Journey of a Lifetime series, because she is in very difficult circumstances and pretty much has the last dollar in her pocket, only this one takes place in Scotland, so it would be the last pound in her pocket. And she has a great faith in luck or the universe talking to you. She takes a big chance with her last money and things turn in her direction. But you know, it's not all about luck. It's about what you make of the luck. And in the 4 books of this series, where you can see it's winter, spring, summer and fall, our heroine, and she's a very bold girl, our heroine learns what life is about and what choices are about. I really enjoyed writing this series. It maybe hasn't found its audience yet, so if you know a millennial who likes a really good story and needs some encouragement, that's the one for her. So that's my question. Do you like a short book? Or do you like a long family saga? Do you like ebooks? Or do you prefer paperbacks? Hey, I've got a lot of questions. I would love to hear from you for some of the answers. Thanks for listening. I hope it won't be so long until the next episode of Ruth Hayes' YouTube stories. Bye.